Well, let me say at the beginning, since Anand, you know, I've criticized this program sometimes with an editorial bent, and it's what it stresses. I commend you beginning the program on this subject, something largely ignored by the American media that is absolutely in the tank for President Biden. I think the words are key: raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated. That was the key takeaway. I really commend anyone. I don't know how many people have read I have the 306-page report and the footnotes. It's a scathing indictment of an investigation that never should have taken place. But there are a couple of key takeaways on this. It confirms that the Steele, which we know the Steele dossier was a political dirty trick by the Clinton campaign that was already discredited by the FBI when this investigation was being conducted. So it should never have taken place in the first instance. Secondly, we know that John Brennan and the Obama administration at the tail end were made aware that the Clinton campaign was trying to tie, without any evidence whatsoever, and paying for, there was a collusion with the Russians, a dossier to discredit President Trump without any evidence to take away attention from her email scandal. So when you look at the totality of the report, it is scathing. The FBI statement is now we recognize errors and they've been corrected. Attorney General Merrick Garland has not issued any statement whatsoever. He just released the report. You can imagine, and this had been the other party, they would be making political hay on television in the United States day in and day out. What is clear is what President Trump said from the beginning. This was a political hit job from the beginning that was a cloud over his presidency for 3 years. Remember the Mueller report? That was supposed to have all this collusion and all this investigation and the conclusion and tens of millions of dollars. At the end of the day, we know it was the other side that was colluding and the other side that was trying to discredit President Trump and using the mechanisms of government in the most undemocratic way that shattered every norm of the Department of Justice. It's a shocking example of the real disinformation that is taking place in America.
Well, I commend Adolfo Franco. He does a great job as a political strategist. But for 30 years, I tried more cases than anybody in the history of the Justice Department. And I can say this. What John Durham did with his report, there are good parts of it that I agree that the FBI mishandled the preliminary process for opening an investigation. And you hit on a key word. Did they have enough basis to open an extensive investigation? That's debatable based on this report by Mr. Durham. That I have to say, looks at the glass as always half empty or half full, depending on his view. But I will say this, James Comey, who was not interviewed by Durham, that's in a footnote, he was not interviewed, was a Republican appointee, the Deputy Attorney General under Bush. He was an assistant, he was a U.S. attorney under Bush. I would not say he was a political hack after Donald Trump. And anybody who thinks that the 2 letters that he issued within the 10 days before the November 2016 election helped Hillary Clinton, they need to take a reality check. Those 2 letters, one could argue, tubed her presidency. So John Durham, to me, has done a good job of interviewing a lot of people. He interviewed 425 people.
Right.
My problem is this. He had a confirmation bias, just like he had when he investigated the CIA destruction of tapes and other things under the Bush administration. And here's the Achilles heel of John Durham.
Yeah.
He takes the view of the person who assigns him the task. And Trump and Barr assigned him a mission. And in 2006 or the 2000s, he was assigned a mission and he had confirmation bias. And as a former prosecutor for 30 years, I see this in his report.